Hello and welcome to Let's Talk SEO. So for years, Google has said that it does not have a score for websites, or there is no quality score, or there is no website score. Apparently, that is not the case. The warehouse APIs have revealed that Google does use a scoring system, but interestingly, as I will show you, it does not work exactly the way many SEOs assumed it worked. Now, we all knew semantic relevance, keywords, those types of things, thematic connections between your website mattered. But what we didn't know was how exactly it worked. And then there were a few missing pieces that we were not entirely aware of. So in this video, I'll go into exactly what pieces we were missing, but we'll go into the APIs as a whole, mainly have to do with calculating site quality score. The important thing to keep in mind here is that it does not reveal everything. And so there are gaps within the APIs that have been exposed. But in order to fill in those gaps, I have added my own personal, anecdotal, and a few test information from tests that I have run over the years. Now, a lot of this keeps changing. And so we're probably an algorithm or two algorithm updates away from the scoring system changing, which I assume changes a lot more than we think it does. And because the scoring system changes, website rankings may go up and down, but by and large, the underlying system remains the same. So let's cut to my screen and we'll go into exactly how this algorithm works. As Google calculates site score. Now, there are three main algorithms that calculate or factor in the score. And so what fraction of the site went into the computation of the site score? And this is something that's not been defined in the algorithm, or at least the leaked APIs. So we don't know if Google is looking at 20% of your site, 30% of your site, 40% of your site. But we do know that Google is measuring that score based on a fraction of the content on your website. And then we have the site score, which is a site-level aggregated keto score. Now, this is not your regular dieting keto score, but this is more of a algorithmic term for overall quality score. And then we have the version ID, which is a unique ID of the version. Now, again, we're not sure. Google doesn't define this, but my assumption, and based on testing, I can tell you that the version ID is each time. So you have your website is given an ID, or a unique ID that Google uses to identify your site. And then each time your site changes, it's given a subsequent ID score or an ID. So if your site was, let's say, ABC 23, and then your site changed, then it'll be 23.4, 23.5, 23.6, so that kind of thing. So again, this has not been clarified or defined in the algorithm. Originally, Google had said that there was no site score. And when people had asked if they were using some kind of a scoring system, Google said no. And the APIs apparently have leaked that is not really the case. And so based on the APIs, we know that Google is using a site score. But as I mentioned earlier, it's only part of the website that matters and is factored. And this means that a site is assumed to be high or low quality based on a fraction of the content. And my experience has been that there are three main parts of your website, which if it's high quality, there's a higher probability of you receiving a higher score. And the first and the most obvious one is your homepage. The not so obvious one is your About Us page. The next most important page, depending on the website that you have, is the service pages. So if you are a service-based site, the quality of your service-based pages matter a lot. And in my testing, I've seen night and day difference. If you just improve the quality of your service pages and your home pages, it will boost the rankings of your website as a whole. The other, like let's say if you're running an e-commerce store, so the quality of your product pages, the images on your product pages, the description on your product pages, if there's a video on your product pages, that helps to boost the quality score of that website. Now again, This is more anecdotal. It's not defined in the algorithm or the leaked API. And so if you have the other thing is also, if you start a website and it starts off with low quality content, and then you're like, okay, if the website picks up, I will improve the quality of the content. The chances of that happening are slim, because if you start off with low quality content, you're awarded a low quality score, and then going from a low quality score to a high quality score becomes a lot harder as compared to going from a higher quality score to a lower quality score. Because once you have those main pages that Google is factoring into the quality score, and those are high quality, you can add subsequent pages that are not as high quality. Or maybe, as I'll show you, there are a few other factors that Google is looking at. The three other factors here is page embedding. So you've got site embedding, so compressed site page embeddings, and you've got site focus score, which is number denoting how much a site has focused on one topic. And then the site radius, the measure of how far page embeddings deviate from the site embedding version ID. So what are embeddings? If someone has taken a semantic SEO course or kind of read some of Bill Salvisky's work, the late Bill Salvisky, highly recommend you read SEO by the Sea. Read all the articles, even though it's now, at least the latest article is going to be like 2 or 3 years old. But I highly recommend that you read those articles. So what it does is it converts words and phrases into vectors, and vectors help Google's algorithm understand the quality and relevance of the words, phrases, and entities on your site. So what it does, it takes those entities, or it takes those vectors and creates a digital map of your content. Now, this is a lot like the topical map I create, and I keep saying this, that you don't need to cover a topic 100% in order to be seen as an authority. Now, it's great if you can do that, but if you're starting out, if you're a brand new website, you're not going to be able to write, let's say, 1,000 pages of content, and no client can wait for you to produce 1,000 pages of content, which may take 3 or 4 months, not see any results. And so when you're approaching creating topical authority, you have to start with the most important parts of that authority, the most important parts to create that authority base, so that at least you can start getting rankings, and that's where having a topical map that's drafted by an expert comes in. And so what happens is that when Google comes onto your website, it kind of gives each page a quality score. Now, we don't know what that quality score is, how much that quality score is out of. Is it like out of 100? Is it out of 50? We have no idea. Or if it's even a percentage. So we have no idea. But let's say it awards a quality score of 90 out of 100 to each page on your website. Let's say the home page, the About Us, and the Services page, that it will be seen as great quality website. Google is thus rewarding websites with a narrow focus, and this has been something that many SEOs have been noticing for a while. So if you start a website with a narrow focus, once it starts getting authority, you can then expand its radius of expertise. And so let's say you start with a website that reviews Honda cars, and once you start seeing great results, you start ranking great, you kind of become an authority in that niche. You can then start slowly expanding to other brands like Toyota, Volkswagen, others. And so Google will see that as related content. You could also, once there's more authority on your domain, you can also expand to car parts, luxury vehicles, accessories, and stuff like that. So measures unrelated pages and how far they are from the main topic. So one of the things that the algorithm is doing is if you post or publish unrelated pages, Google tries to measure like how unrelated are there. Are there 50% unrelated? Are they 20% unrelated? Are they 10%? So the further they are in terms of relationship to your main niche, the lower the odds are that they will rank very well. So thus, most times the content will not rank. So if you have a Honda-focused website, but then you start writing articles or publishing articles suddenly about Toyota, those articles may not rank. And then there is my advice to people based on what this algorithm does. And this is something I've mainly mentioned before, is when you're starting a website, make sure that you start with a pillar page which is mainly going to be your homepage. So make sure your homepage is of the highest quality. And then you build semantically relevant pages from your homepage, which you then link to, which if you are a service site, so those will be your service pages. If you are a blog, then those will be highly relevant blog posts that are relevant to the industry you're trying to target. And then you will build the internal links back and forth. So you can use the reverse silo that works very well. You can also use the top-down pillar cluster linking technique as well. Regardless of the tactic you use, what's more important is that your pages are very, very semantically relevant, and that you're using the right keyword anchor text and the right ratios, which we talked about in the previous video, so that Google is not only looking at the quality of the page, but it's also looking at how that page is connected to all the other pages on your website. So if you do that correctly, you should have no problem ranking. So I hope you guys liked the video. Like and subscribe as always, and I will see you in the next video.